This wolf does more than huff and puff. Find out what's going on, as I hereby invite everyone to join me on my adventures through Marvel Snap. Hey everybody, it's Annabelle. So we got our brand new furry friend in Marvel Snap this week, and that is Fenris the Wolf. Fenris Wolf is a monstrous wolf and is a child of Loki. He will play a key role during the events of the Great Battle. When he was just a pup, prophets began to predict that he would spread chaos throughout the 9 realms, resulting in the collapse of humanity and society. There was potential for evil in him, but it was the gods themselves who were responsible for filling his heart with hatred and rage, making him into the exact terrible enemy they had always feared for eons. Fenris Wolf started out far more good than one might expect. He did not see himself as evil and tried his best to show Odin that he had a chance to have a powerful ally and friend on his side. He even agreed to test the chains that they had made to bind him as a sign of trust, as long as they swore to let him go afterwards. However, all that changed as due to the paranoia of Odin, the oath was broken, and now the wolf gladly seeks to fulfill his role as destroyer because of this. Fenris Wolf is feared by all, as they know that only evil can be expected of him, even though they have bound him to a rock with a magical chain made out of the spit of a bird, the beard of a woman, the breath of a fish, and other rare elements, then gagged his mouth with a sword and left him discarded and destroyed. It is still known that one day he will activate his full strength, break his bonds, and make the strong fight at his side, allowing him to devour the sun. Fenris Wolf is a vain creature. He likes to show off his size and strength. He will tug on his chains to prove to the gods how powerful he still is. But he is also clever, realizing that they might be destroyed if given reason. So most days he lays on his rock, brooding over his cruelty and dreaming of revenge. His dark thoughts and solitary slowly driving him mad, and when he breaks his bond, he will destroy everything in his path, having no mercy left in his warped heart. Fenris Wolf is monstrously strong. He uses all his time stuck on the rock, tugging on his chains to further increase his already immense strength and durability. Every day he will use all his power to grow larger in proportions and will do everything possible to increase his strength for the battle to come. Legend states that he is destined to grow so large that he will eventually swallow the sun whole. Fenris Wolf is a monstrous wolf feared by all, who was bound to a rock with magic chains, where he was left discarded and destroyed, biding his time until he activates his full strength, breaks his bonds, and has the strongest fight at his side. This is represented in Marvel Snap with the fact that as long as he was bound for some time, he can activate his full strength to bring back the strongest discarded or destroyed character to fight at his side. So in Marvel Snap, what this card does is it's a 2 power, 3 cost with the description of activate, which means it has to be out and be revealed for at least 1 turn before you can do its power. Then it will resurrect your opponent's, not yours, your opponent's, highest powered, discarded, or destroyed card to your side, to this location, to the location it's currently on. I honestly feel that this card fits perfectly a 5-star rating. I almost want to give it a 6-star rating. There are some flaws behind it, but they are small and inconsequential. So let me go over some of the reasons why I gave him such a very high rating. So let's start off with the first thing here is he works with both destroy and discard. So, even though he looks like he might be a 2-3 for his power spike, where it's the 2 and the 3, and that's a shocker in the normal realm. It doesn't take that much to make him a very powerful card. To get him above Maximus's stats, which is just a 2/6, all he has to find is 4 in power. To get 4 in power is not that high. You're talking about finding a Cyclops that you destroy. If you destroy a Cyclops, you just made him into a 4/6, but that's even, into a 2/7, which is even higher than Maximus, but that's even kind of going over the edge of this. If all you do is you use a Yondu in your deck, just a Yondu in your deck, which will catch something low, and you get a 2 power card, which is about as low as you can go. You're adding 2 power to this, which makes this relatively a 2/5. But in addition to adding the 2 power to this, you've basically taken the 2 power away from your opponent, which is another 2 on top of this, which makes this already a 2/7, and that's by just hitting something that has 2 power in the game. Now that's on a discard where you're going to help them out anyways. But if you destroy something with 2 power through some ways, that's worth this basically having 4 power, because you're adding 2 power to your side, and to a certain extent you're taking away 2 power from your opponent's side. Now, the big bad that everybody's going to be talking about and everybody's going to be looking at is going to be Shang-Chi. You're going to hit a 10, you're going to see the 10 come up, and that's your worry. And to that factor, you're going to see Cosmo walking around a little bit more to counter this wolf. So the puppy is going to try to counter the wolf. Not so much for the Fenris itself, because the Fenris can't be countered, except for Red Guardian, who can counter it. Anything else isn't going to counter it because it's an activate ability. But if you might see Cosmo played onto the Fenris lane, thinking that that's where you're going to play the Shang-Chi. Here's the thing, you don't have to play the Shang-Chi on the Fenris lane. You can play the Shang-Chi on any lane. The 10 drop will show up on the Fenris lane, but it's not required that you put the Shang-Chi on the Fenris lane. But you don't even need to go as crazy as doing Cosmo. Just as something as simple as a Gambit can do enough for you. You take out 1 card that's a decently good card. 3 power, 4 power, you're already doing good. If you want to go in the discard realm, you can play even something as crazy as Moon Knight. Make it so your deck doesn't have anything that's odd at that point. And this will only discard something from your opponent. You lose nothing, and not only did you lose nothing, your opponent, now you get that card back. The other thing that this is kind of a counter to is Phoenix Force. Because of how this works as a Phoenix Force for how it works for Fenris Wolf. It grabs it out of your opponent's deck and puts it on your side. So if you're getting tired of seeing that Phoenix Force deck or that Destroy deck that's a move Destroy deck, and you play Fenris early, you pull that card out of their hand, you put it on their side, they no longer have that card to use. Another card that this is kind of a counter to is anything that is basically using the Lady Sif as its engine. All those big Hela decks that are using the Lady Sif, now while you won't get the Hela, because it works the same way that like Scorn works, where it doesn't actually hit the graveyard. If you're looking for a card that, like an Apocalypse or a Scorn, it won't get that card. But if you're playing against Hela deck and you see the Lady Sif come out and it gets that Infinite, you snap on that turn, you grab that wolf, you get that 20 points of power, and they can't pull it back. Now, it's also interesting to just play Negasonic Teenage Warrior. On 2 play Wolf, on 3 play Negasonic Teenage Warrior somewhere else. Now, wherever they play, if they play on Negasonic, you know what's going on the Wolf. So you can almost kind of put the 2 of them even on the same lane going, hey, if you ever play here, not only am I taking that card and destroying it, I'm putting it on my side. So you gotta be really careful what you play there. A card that you might not want to play into this is the Lady Deathstrike, only because the Lady Deathstrike has the ability to take out weird stuff that you might not want it to. Also, if there is a tie for like a 2-3 and a 2-3, it can pick any of the 2-3s. You won't get both of the 2-3s, you'll get one of the 2-3s. So you want to be kind of careful about stuff like Lady Deathstrike. Also, do know that with how this is written, when you activate the Fenris Wolf, you will bring back the card. And just like when you bring back the card with Ghost Rider, you'll activate the ability. So even if you don't get something huge, if like you get, say, a Wong somehow, you now have that Wong on your side of the field, and you can use that Wong going forward. It doesn't silence the card, it doesn't negate the card. If you have even something like, let's say, a Shuri that got killed somehow, the next card you play after the Shuri will get double the power. So you get the power just like if you pulled it up with Ghost Rider. Now, I will talk about the only downside that I possibly can see in this particular card. Well, there's two technically downsides, so I'll talk about both of them real quick. The first one is basically the fact that it's an activate. All cards that are activate have the problem that you honestly can't play them on 6. You have to play them on 5. But this is an activate that comes out on 2 on a lot of times. So if you know what you're doing, you have turn 3, turn 4, turn 5, and turn 6. You can activate on turn 6, you just can't play it on turn 6. Unless you're playing Magic. That is such a wide range to get one card to work. Yes, I understand that, Activate has this problem, but this is the same thing that happened with Hellcow, where it's like, this card might as well just say, at the end of the game, put your opponent's highest destroy card onto your side of the field in this location. The other problem that I see with it is it does require a secondary card to make it work. You're not just putting Fenris Wolf into a deck and hoping that your opponent destroys the stuff. Now, there are a lot of destroy decks, and that's one of the good things. If you're getting tired of seeing those Wolverines, if you're getting tired of seeing those Venoms, if you're getting tired of seeing those Nimrods float around, you can just throw a Fenris Wolf in your deck, hoping to use it almost like an armor to a certain degree. But if you're not concerned about that, if you're not thinking that's what you're going to use it for as a tech card, as just this armor substitute, yes, you do need one other card to make it work. But the cards that are needed to make it work are cards that a lot of people are going to be playing anyways. You're talking about Shang-Chi. You're talking about Negasonic Teenage Warriors. You don't have to go out of your way to really slot something in this. This isn't a Spider-Man 2099 where it's going to need a weird way to get activated and then it's going to get you something bad. And here's the thing, it's not the first thing that gets destroyed. It's not a random thing that gets destroyed. It's the highest thing that gets destroyed. So, let's say on turn 1 you destroy something that is 2 power. And then on turn 4 you destroy something that's 8 power. You no longer have to worry that you're getting that 2 power cost. You're going to get that 8 power cost. That's the thing. It's an effect that keeps growing. If your opponent destroys something that's a 10 this turn and a 20 next turn, you're getting that 20. So there's very little that I can see in this card that has any kind of flaw to it. To the fact where I'm thinking they might change how this card works just because of how broken it looks in the game. It basically can just solo lane by itself. With that being said, the other cards that we have this particular week are Werewolf by Night. Werewolf by Night has kind of had this weird back forth, good, bad thing going on with it. It's not a bad card, it just requires so much more setup to it. For this card to be good, you've got to have like 4 or 5 other cards in your deck that work with this. And you don't have those 4 or 5 other cards in your deck, you're not happy with Werewolf by Night. Now there are some cheap substitutes for Werewolf by Night where you do the cheap activates, but if you want the good stuff for Werewolf by Night, you need the expensive stuff, so it's kind of a weird card to get into. The other card in here is Annihilus. Annihilus has the same problem as Werewolf by Night. Annihilus is a good card. It's a solid card. It might even need a buff at this point, to be honest. It's kind of underperforming with everything that's been going on lately. But the problem is you can't just own Annihilus. You gotta own Annihilus, you gotta own Sentry, you gotta own these cards that, like, only exist in an Annihilus deck, and an Annihilus deck is an Annihilus deck. So, for this week, none of these 3 cards are really bad. But these 2 really need support, the Werewolf and the Annihilus. I do not think Fenris Wolf needs even 3 cards to support it. You can easily just throw a Shang-Chi in your deck, you can easily throw a Gambit in your deck, you can easily throw a Negasonic Teenage Warrior in your deck, and Fenris is fine. Even without finding something for Fenris, even without putting any of your destroy cards in there. Death's Domain, Death's Domain, Death's Altar, Rickety Branch, there's so many places that just have some sort of destroy on it. Or have some sort of discard on it. So, there's actually some situations where Fenris Wolf is going to be able to get something even if you have no support. I think this is a good week to roll if you're missing all 3 of these. I think it's not even a bad week to roll if you just want the Wolf, honestly. I think Werewolf's fine, I think Annihilus is fine. I don't think there's a bad roll in this week, honestly. Let's see what we get in the shop from this one. Let's see what the box says. What's in the box? Box says... Oh, sweet. We got Mr. Wolfie Boy. This is the card I actually kind of was hoping for this week. So on this Friday, I will be making a video on Fenris Wolf. If you want to catch me doing that, I'll be doing this Friday. I want to thank you all so much for watching. And as always, remember, play for fun.